Coming up today, President Park Geun-hye orders South Korea's military to heighten its alert level against North Korea as the regime continues to ramp up its threats against the South. Slightly over 700 people register to run in next month's general election. Those still hoping to run have until the end of the day to throw their hat into the ring. First, the brothers who bombed Brussels may have been targeting a nuclear power plant before changing their minds as the authorities closed in. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Friday, March 25th here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Broom. We begin with South Korea's response to North Korea's latest barrage of threats against South Korea's presidential office and the president herself. The presidential office of Chung Wha-dae has ordered the military to heighten its alert level against what it calls Pyongyang's challenge to the world. The public have also been warned to stay on guard. Our presidential office correspondent Song Ji-sun with the details.
A direct, explicit announcement of an attack targeting the president of South Korea. Seoul is taking the issue seriously and defined Pyongyang's provocation not just a direct challenge to South Korea, but towards the world.
It's a challenge and threat to the Republic of Korea and our president, and a direct challenge to the world. Considering the severity of North Korea's threats, President Park has ordered defense readiness to be reinforced to guarantee the safety of our people, and called on the public to be prepared for any emergency.
Denouncing the annual South Korea-U.S. joint military drills, Pyongyang state-run media on Wednesday broadcast that it will remove the South Korean president by specifically targeting the top office with its military and special forces. Seoul's Unification Ministry on the same day responded that Pyongyang's nuclear ambitions is what's heightened attention on the Korean peninsula and that the North should choose to change its ways. At a standing National Security Council meeting, the South Korean government also ordered all relevant agencies to prepare necessary countermeasures, with South Korea's defense ministry saying it has been on full standby for any provocation since Pyongyang's fourth nuclear test in January. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
Now, South Korea's top military official has convened an emergency meeting with his commanders and called on them to sternly punish North Korea in case of any future provocations. During the 30-minute meeting late Thursday, Joint Chiefs of Staff General Lee Seung-jin evaluated the country's defense readiness to counter threats from the north. This comes after Pyongyang accused Seoul of conducting a military drill aimed at destroying the regime. On Monday, South Korea's Air Force conducted a simulation targeting key military facilities in the north, flying more than a dozen fighter jets armed with precision-guided missiles. North Korea asserted Thursday that it had successfully tested a solid-fuel rocket engine that can carry its short to mid-range ballistic missiles. But an international missile expert has already cast doubt over Pyongyang's claims. Michael Ellman, a senior fellow at the International Institute for Strategic Studies, said the images released by the North look like the tail end of a multi-phase projectile characterized by the fiery combustion looking rather slow and long, as you can see the still there. Speaking at a seminar hosted by Johns Hopkins University, Ellman said that although it's hard to make a definitive claim, the combustion is different from that of a missile that has an effective range of about 200 kilometers. That said, the expert expressed concern North Korea was pushing to develop such a solid fuel rocket engine. Now, North Korea has a long history of military provocations against the South, but its aggressive acts have increasingly come in the form of cyber attacks. To better counter the threat, the South Korean military has been holding its annual cyber defense competition to find its own IT whiz-kids. Our Kim Hyun-bin reports from Daejeon.
The South Korean military was under highest state of alert soon after North Korea conducted its fourth nuclear test. However, a few days after the test, several Defense Ministry email accounts were hacked by the North. To better counter such cyber threats, the South Korean Army headquarters held a cyber defense competition in the city of Daejeon. Already in its 8th installment, the South Korean Army's cyber defense competition brought 49 teams from both civilian and military backgrounds this year.
Apart from military personnel, many civilian students took part in the event as well. We believe that if civilian and military experts share their hacking knowledge, we will be better able to counter cyber threats.
98 hackers dueled over for 5 hours trying to crack the latest cyber threats, and were evaluated based on how fast they detected malware and applied countermeasures.
North Korean attacks are becoming more creative, trying to neutralize our cyber defense. But we have been systematically analyzing the changes in North Korea's malicious codes.
The South Korean Army's cyber defense competition was launched in 2009, when cyber threats from the north were first detected. The winner of this year's competition received an Army Chief of Staff commendation and will be eligible to take part in a Defense Ministry-hosted hacking contest in May. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News, Daejeon.
Now, on the first day of the two-day candidate registration period for next month's general election, a total of 701 hopefuls threw their hat into the ring, with one full day of registration still to go. This already brings the competition ratio to 2.8 candidates for each National Assembly seat up for grabs. The number is up around 12% compared to the first day of registration for the 2012 general election. Pundits say the increase is a result of the increased number of electoral districts and the splitting of the Liberal opposition bloc. The ruling Saenuri Party accounted for the most registrations at 210, followed by the main opposition Minju Party of Korea with 190. The splinter opposition People's Party has registered 109 candidates so far. The rest are minor parties and independents. By gender, the candidates are predominantly male, accounting for 629 of the 701. By age, the biggest group are men and women in their 50s. Now, official campaigning kicks off on March 31st and will run through April 12th, a day before the April 13th vote. Now, as we just heard, the official two-day candidate registration period for next month's general election will come to a close on Friday evening. And for the first time in 20 years, Koreans heading to the polls will have 3 major parties to vote for, instead of the normal 2. Shin Se-min reports.
3 negotiating political parties will be on the ballot paper when Koreans enter polling stations on April 13th. It'll mark the first time since the mid-1990s that more than 2 will be in the running. They are the ruling Saenuri Party, which holds a majority of 146 seats in the 300-seat National Assembly, the main opposition Minju Party of Korea, with 102, and the minor opposition People's Party, which was recently bestowed the status of a negotiating bloc, with 21 seats. Korea saw its last multi-party election in 1996, when 4 parties went head-to-head. That's also when the opposition blocs stopped the then-ruling New Korea Party, led by former late President Kim Young-sam, from securing a majority. But this year's race isn't expected to have a similar outcome.
The infighting within the parties during the candidate nomination process, especially within the Saenuri Party and the Minju Party of Korea, caused a rift between supporters of the individual parties, but I don't expect voters to switch allegiances.
The nomination feud in the ruling party revolved around lawmakers loyal to President Park Geun-hye and those not in her faction, like Yoo Sung-min, who left the party on Wednesday to run as an independent. The turmoil was not limited to the ruling party, though. The infighting between the faction loyal to the late President Roh Moo-hyun and those not allied with Roh put a strain on the main opposition Minju Party. The party is being run by interim leader Kim Jong-in, who stepped up after pro-Roh member Moon Jae-in resigned as chairman under pressure from lawmakers unhappy with his leadership. The minor opposition People's Party lost a key member of its leadership, Election Committee Chair Kim Han-gil, after a conflict with party founder and co-chair An Chol-soo about whether to embrace the Minju Party's proposal to join forces to win the election. Experts say this year's election should be one to watch as a number of factors like the country's delayed electoral map and the hotly contested nomination process have spiced things up. One thing for sure, though, the results will be a good indicator of how the party's presidential candidates will do in the big one next year. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Now, Belgium has admitted that it made errors relating to one of the Brussels attackers. It comes after Turkey said it arrested and deported one of them last June, warning Belgium he was a foreign fighter. But their words were ignored by Brussels. Our Kwon Jang-ho has the latest.
Belgian authorities are currently on the hunt for at least 2 men who were directly involved with the Tuesday bombings at a metro station and airport in Brussels. According to French and Belgian media, the first is a new suspect who was spotted on CCTV cameras accompanying the metro station bomber Khalid El-Bakraoui just before the attack. The man has not yet been identified, and it is not clear whether he was killed at the scene or is on the run. The second is a man seen at the airport with the 2 suicide bombers, one of whom who has been identified as Khalid's brother, Ibrahim Bakraoui. It is believed that this man fled the scene after his bomb failed to detonate. 31 people are confirmed to have been killed in the attack so far. An additional 61 people are in critical condition, 4 of whom are in a coma and haven't yet been identified, so authorities have only named a handful of the deceased victims so far. Identification has been difficult due to the damage done by the attacks and the number of foreigners among the victims. Foreigners still waiting to hear from missing loved ones have turned to social media and news outlets to try and find them. Meanwhile, the attacks have raised questions about what has been done or missed to prevent them. The 3 named suspects were known to have links to the Islamic State cell responsible for the Paris attacks in November last year. Ibrahim El-Bakraoui had even been arrested and deported from Turkey in June, but the Belgian authorities did not extradite him as they felt there was no specific information linking him to terrorism. EU Interior and Justice Ministers will be holding an emergency meeting in Brussels on Thursday to discuss how to move forward. The only surviving suspect of the Paris attacks, Salah Abdeslam, was arrested in Brussels last week and was due in court for a hearing on Thursday, but it has now been postponed till April. According to his lawyer, he has denied any prior knowledge about Tuesday's attacks. He also added that the suspect does not oppose extradition back to France. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
Now, as a follow-up to that report, the suicide bombers who blew themselves up in Brussels, were reportedly originally considering an attack on a nuclear site in Belgium, but recent terror arrests may have forced their hand. The Belgium-based DH newspaper reports that 2 of the bombers, brothers Khalid and Ibrahim Bakraoui, had covertly filmed the home of an unidentified senior official in the nuclear industry. A police source said the men's actions caused them to ramp up security around nuclear plants as a result. However, experts say the high-security areas around such facilities would almost certainly have been beyond the reach of militants such as the Bakraouis. Meanwhile, the Belgian Crisis Centre has confirmed that Belgium has lowered its security alert level from 4, the highest level, to 3. It comes just 2 days after the suicide bomb attacks at an airport in Brussels and a metro station in the city that left 31 people dead and 270 injured. Now, on a much lighter note, Korea is a country that's well known for its temple food. Unlike nations like Thailand and Cambodia that haven't really developed their own temple cuisine because their clergy receive food from their followers. So, for more details, our Iji-won reports.
Korean temple food is developing a reputation around the world for its clean taste and health benefits. The vegan cuisine is made with fresh seasonal ingredients and is free of spices and MSG. The simplicity of the food makes it flavorful but not overpowering, teaching people to eat with restraint according to Buddhist teachings on moderation.
What we take in makes us who we are. Therefore, temple food is good for people as it is clean and simple yet healthy, like medicine for the body. We grow our own ingredients, and by using the least amount of seasoning, it's light and easy to digest.
Temple food was one of the biggest attractions for visitors to this year's Seoul International Buddhism Expo, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year.
The taste is very light and clean, but also delicious as it's scented with the lotus leaf. I'm really grateful to nature for providing such wonderful flavors.
Korea's temple food is very healthy for the body and it's got very beautiful colors. We enjoy eating it.
The taste and potential health benefits of Korean temple cuisine is also attracting attention from people overseas. At the Milan Expo last year, visitors flocked to the booth by the Korean Culture Ministry and the Cultural Corps of Korean Buddhism displaying temple food. Visitors there praised the cuisine as the epitome of slow food, a movement that began in Italy as an alternative to fast food. Temple food was also enjoyed by the diplomats of OECD delegations attending Korea's National Day in Paris last year, where the process of preparing, serving, and enjoying the cuisine was called an art in and of itself.
With the government promoting temple food as part of the Korean wave, you may soon be able to find these healthy and colorful dishes on your dinner table. 이지원, 아리랑 뉴스.
Okay, well, those are stories we have for you at this hour on a Friday morning here in Seoul. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.com/news. Have a great day. Goodbye.